Why Africans are the worst in leadership. Now, it goes without saying that Africa and, in quotes, black, have a stereotype with bad leadership or bad governance. But there's a reason for that. And one thing you're going to surprisingly see in this video is that it's not just in Africa, but even people of African descent in the West are still very poor in leadership. There are a couple of ways to achieve bad governance. Obviously, the most popular that we know is rigging elections or rigging the system through which a leader is appointed. But then it's not always that case. You can also buy the people. And this is actually the most common, though people don't actually realize it. Professor P.L.O. Lumumba says that Africans are fond of voting for their stomachs for one day instead of voting for ideas, for vision, for change. We vote for our stomachs, we vote for what this person can give us. We don't ask ourselves, okay, between these candidates, who has greater ideas, who has a better vision for the future, a great plan that is really going to help us and build the nation. No, we're asking ourselves, what am I going to get from this person? And so if the person comes and he's sharing sardines, he's sharing bottles of drinks, and he's sharing bread, whatever he's sharing, we are happy to collect that for a day, feed ourselves for a day, and vote them in power, and then they get in there and ruin everything. Now, this may sound a bit like it's a bad thing, but honestly, as you'll see, to come to think of it, it's a bit normal, in quotes, if I can put it that way. It's normal for people to vote for their stomachs now, especially the kind of people that we find in the African setting today. Why? Because the type of people who vote ideas over food must have attained a threshold level of self-leadership and sustainability. You may want to pay attention to that. I'll repeat it. The type of people who vote for ideas and visions over food must have personally by themselves attained a threshold level of self-leadership and sustainability. So my question then is, are you that kind of person? Have you attained a threshold of personal self-leadership and sustainability? You can get a simple answer to that question is by asking yourself, the last time you went to the polls to vote, for example, who did you vote? You voted the person who had great ideas and great visions, or you voted the person who had promised you a lot of goodies and a lot of good things in your future? Because like Abraham Maslow says, the fact is we are humans, and by being humans, we are driven by needs. And if you're familiar with Abraham Maslow's pyramid of needs, you understand that the very basic of them first is food, water, drink, security. So if people haven't achieved those things by themselves, if you haven't secured your own food, your own sustainability, your own protection, then obviously once you have the opportunity to make a decision for your future, the first thing you will be banking on or giving the highest priority are these basic necessities. And so that's why the people who can live the basic necessities and vote for vision, or in other words, in Abraham Maslow's words, self-actualization, are people who have, of course, already secured these basic needs by themselves. So you see that it's not so much a thing of all these people are dumb or they are foolish. It's a principle of need. It's a question of what stage in their lives are they right now? At what stage are you in your life? Are you already at some point of self-actualization where you're no longer driven by the basic needs of food and water? Why? Because through your personal and self-leadership, you've been able to get these things and get a certain level of personal sustainability, or you're still driven by those needs. So in the absence of personal leadership, in the absence of you getting your own level of sustainability, the outcome is once you have the decision, the opportunity to make a decision about your future, you favor your food and your stomach now over ideas and the vision tomorrow. And like I said earlier in the video, the same thing is in the West. Once you have not attained a personal level of sustainability, once you have the opportunity to decide your future through the people you put in power or leadership, you're going to put the people that promise you the kind of things you want, irrespective of who they are. You see, that's why it's gotten to the point now where, for example, in the West, they just tell you, you vote a color or you vote a certain group, irrespective of who is going to be in charge. You just support the entire group. Whether the person in charge is incompetent or not, you have to vote the group because that group promises you the things of basic needs you have been unable to get for yourself. So a simple question would be, how do we change that? Obviously, the answer is simple. You have to take responsibility for yourself to attain a minimum threshold level of personal leadership and sustainability. Because once you've secured your basic needs, the bottom of the pyramid, you're more comfortable now to think of other things, to think of ideas, to think of visions, to really ask yourself if this really is worth it in the longer term and not just about what my stomach can get now. And of course, that's for the individual. But if we're going to have to change, say, a nation, to change the world, for example, one person isn't enough. We still need a minimum threshold of enough people. So assuming we are in a democracy where the majority have to make the decisions for the minority. So you understand that even if we have to change things, then we need still a minimum threshold of people that have attained a minimum level of sustainability and self-leadership such that they are no longer dependent on people for their bread. So now they can focus on actually voting ideas over bread. So obviously, someone might say it's ironic that the reason that we have bad leaders is because we have bad voters, right? We have bad people making the decisions for who should be in control. And therefore, if bad people, in quotes, by bad, that means you're not even attained your own personal level of leadership. So you're not in position to judge clearly who is best to be in a position of leadership. And that's why you're going to be thinking of your stomach first and what you want to gain. So, well, until then, until we can really get a threshold on ourselves as individuals and a threshold as a group of enough people who have taken responsibility for their lives to meet their own basic needs and stop depending on hoping on another person to fill in that gap, then we'll just have to be contented with what we get right now. So it's not so much of something to mock at or to be surprised or shocked at as it's actually something to say, okay, that's normal. That's the way it's supposed to happen. If they haven't attained personal leadership, then it's obviously normal that they are going to hope that another person is going to fill in that gap for them. What is your personal leadership like? Have you been able to take responsibility for your life and to get your own basic needs covered, to get your own minimum threshold level of sustainability and personal leadership, without which, well, you're just going to follow the masses and think of your stomach first instead of thinking of ideas and visions for your children after you. So think about that. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up, subscribe, hit the bell if you're new here. Thank you so much for watching, and a big shout out to all our Patreons. It's really thanks to you guys that we're able to continue making content like this. YouTube can support this channel. The link is in the description below. So thank you for watching, and until the next one, stay blessed.